Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with Damon Benning and Jacob Padilla.
Love that voice, love the music. That means it is another week of NEB Preps, and I get my buddy, my ace, the numero uno, Jacob Padilla. How are things besides busy for you? Busier than most.
Yeah, good to have a little bit of time to decompress after state. And I wasn't even there all 4 days like some people were. Just the last 2 days, start to finish there. It was good volleyball, but ready to dive back into football now.
So how close are we to saying, and this is on the heels of, Creighton coming off the huge win against Marquette, even after dropping the first set, Nebraska's on a roll. We joke, are we close to saying this is a volleyball state?
Clearly, obviously, the love for football will always be there, but in terms of the actual product, volleyball is clearly our number one sport.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
it is incredible. And we saw a heck of a run come to an end, and I congratulations to Norris, and just a class act from Coach Saunders in her post game. Right, that was like the epitome of coaching.
And then that's who Renee is.
Yep.
It was bizarre. The first time ever that I didn't see her in the media room after the Class B championship.
Yeah, because it would have been 10 years.
Yeah, that was before I was covering volleyball the last time they lost. So it was an incredible match, and props to Norris, especially for pulling this off without arguably their best player. Setter Mally Boziger, and just the story of the two seniors stepping in there to set when they weren't setters and setting them to a championship.
Yeah,
that was incredible. I think that's Skutt's not going anywhere, but what Norris accomplished definitely deserves recognition and celebration.
All right, well, shall we?
Yeah, let's dive into it.
What class? Flip a coin, flip a coin, flip a coin. You want to start in A?
Let's just go with the top. Yeah, go through.
All right, well, we'll start in Class A, where I think obviously we'll get to North and Elkhorn South. This was the one that I think you kind of felt like in one of the two where you felt like, oh, this one could be interesting, and it clearly was that.
And we thought all year long those two were obviously North kind of had the blip early on, but then recovered, and those two teams seem like kind of the next tier after Kearney established itself as that 3 seed, and then Elkhorn South and North battling back and forth. And so it's fitting to end the season with a game like this where it's a one-score game going down to the wire.
Yeah, and I think, for the way North did it, do you think they're gaining confidence? They seem like a team that I think they feel like they're pretty okay.
Well, I think the key to the game is that they were firing on all cylinders, down the stretch, the offense, defense, their passing game, their rushing game. They needed all aspects to pull it off. I mean, it was tied after the third quarter. Mikey Gow, who threw a touchdown pass earlier in the game to Darian Jones, go-ahead rushing touchdown with 3 to play.
His rushing dimension has changed that offense dramatically.
100%. Especially
putting him in the gun. They're getting to their run game a few different ways.
Especially with the attention you have to pay to Jaron Cannon. Now you got to devote an extra guy to him as well.
Yep.
And again, you've got O'Neal, you've got Jones, guys that can make plays down the field in the passing game. So there's a lot to think about on every snap there now. And then the defense got it done. Forced a fumble at the end of the game to essentially ice it there.
Yeah, it's just interesting to watch. It's like death, taxes, and a November run for Coach Martin. it's at Omaha North.
Yeah, you'd say he's experienced in this situation.
Yeah, well, hop over to let's go Kearney and Bellevue West, because we thought points may be hard to come by in general, but certainly for Bellevue West, and they actually were.
Yeah, and 37 was the final. They completely bottled up Will Anderson and shut down that passing attack, didn't let him get loose rushing. Bellevue West totaled 181 yards and had 2 turnovers. Kearney didn't have a great day offensively, in terms of bunch of yards or whatever, but when they got a chance to score, they took advantage of it. Novacek had 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 passing. And then Sawyer Schilke, again, we talk about what a game changer he is.
He's legit.
10 tackles, a tackle for loss, and recovered a fumble and returned it 49 yards for a touchdown. So,
the
Kearney's looking great.
Yeah, the interesting thing in this one Millard South play in such a way that it will allow kind of Shoki some of that front seven to have an advantage. It's always so much on the back end, but Millard South will now try to run the ball too with that ground game. So it's an interesting matchup. I don't know. I kind of expect this one to be closer this time around.
Yeah, and both semifinals are rematches from the regular
Earlier
season.
Yeah.
You mentioned Millard South took care of business 49-10 against Millard North. Gave up 88 yards to Millard North, 2 turnovers. Their only touchdown was on a kick return. So we talk about that offense and all the weapons there, but the defense certainly flexes muscles.
Especially losing a couple of key pieces that for their ability to keep churning. Like that's an aggressive football team.
100%, and that's where depth really really pays off. Is you can weather the storm of some losses there. But Tamala 309 yards, 5 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. So kind of just a standard game.
Yeah, I was going to say pencil it in, right?
They got Pruka 148 on the ground, 1 touchdown and 26 carries.
He's been a nice little gem for them.
Yeah,
he gives them enough balance to keep you up at night. That's definitely for sure.
And they've had a pretty good run of backs there and finding guys that again, Feller, same deal last year, dual threat, not necessarily the biggest, strongest guy in the backfield. But he's just able to fill the role they need of him as a dual threat out of the backfield. And then Amir Hill, his Marion Jackson last week, Chase Lofton before, Isaac Jensen's highlight plays every week. And then Amir Hill, 3 catches, 119 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, so, pretty efficient, right?
The
old 3x2.
Yeah, they got so many weapons that Deshaun Prince doesn't play as much on offense as he used to, but he went and got himself a touchdown anyway with the pick 6.
That's incredible. He's like, if I can't score on offense,
I'll just go do it on
defense.
I'll
go get one on defense.
Yeah. And then finally, Westside took care of business, 36-0 in the rematch with Papio. KT Jenkins again, over 200 yards, 224 on 24 carries and a score. Team 343 yards and 2 touchdowns, holding Papio to 86 yards on 30 carries.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. We want to just be able to stop the run.
Forget not giving up a 100-yard rusher to a single player. Not even doing it to a team at this point.
I think, and it's allowed us to kind of play a little bit freer on the back end. I mean, we're going to have our hands full, obviously, with how we want to defend Darian Jones without committing too much from the run game, especially now that they can run and throw at the quarterback spot. It's a little bit of a headache.
Yeah, and that's so. The Millard South Kearney was 52-3 in week 3. The Westside North, you guys played in the week 1.
Yeah.
Both teams have changed quite a bit since then. Figured some things out. Obviously,
drastically different.
Neither team was particularly sharp in the opener because it's your first game. A lot of things to figure out.
What were the total penalties? I think you're kind of making fun of me.
Yeah, a little bit. 18, I think, something like that. 18, 20.
I know we had 14 with just us. So,
so yeah, I think. So the question is, North, are they going to be able to move the ball and get the ball into the end zone against you guys this week, which they did not do outside of one time in that opener. Also, it was Eli Johnson's turn for a big game. 5 catches, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so,
he's
same thing. We talk about Millard South's weapons, but Westside, you guys got a lot of different guys that can do it as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of by week. And, I was saying this yesterday at practice, just kind of watching him. He's just one of those guys that has mastered his body type. He has incredible body control where he can go get balls. And
that's dangerous for a kid his size and athleticism.
Yeah, because he's big.
Yeah.
He's a big, strong kid. So I just watching him work, and he caught the back end of a ball from Warren. It was set. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to have to lay out. And nope, he just kind of plucked the back end of it. It was, I don't know, he's legit. That's for sure.
Kind of some Pierce Newberry traits there.
Yeah, and the cool thing about him is he's actually helping us out on defense too, right? Trying to play the long game, and we're going to need some size and big guys to handle the cannons and give Darian a matchup. If we're fortunate, then he'll help us, a week and a half later. So it's been a good team effort.
Yep. So 2 Class A rematches on Friday. Jumping down to Class B, we'll get 1 rematch. Bennington 39-0 against McCook. 119 yards and 2 turnovers for McCook. So Bennington defense more of the same. Lane Bover had 8 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a pick 6. So another defensive touchdown.
We joke about that. It's just a thing now.
Yeah.
And I say this every week, so I guess it's not true anymore. But he might be their most underrated, the most underrated, really good defensive player.
Yeah. Because you talk about the guys at the top with Lorison, who scored a touchdown on offense in this one, and is a great player. Jansen,
great player
up front. But I mean, every level they got guys that you could call out, and Bover certainly had a fantastic season there. Guts on the ground, 133 yards and a touchdown, so they got the running game going. Decent game for Hill as well. So yeah, Bennington kind of firing on all cylinders, and so was Elkhorn North, making the trip out to Scottsbluff. And it was 7-6 at halftime.
Yeah.
And then Elkhorn North just got loose in the second half to win it 30-6. And Scottsbluff did a good job of kind of bottling up the Elkhorn North rushing game. I mean, Tinglehoff only had 72 yards on 29 catches, but the passing game is what did them in. Beachy, 8 completions, 4 touchdowns. Pretty good ratio there.
Yeah, just can't let him be that efficient if you want to give yourself a chance.
Yeah, Jet Tinglehoff, again, wasn't much on the ground, but had a 57-yard receiving touchdown. Alex Uckman, who just, again, we talk about Kaliga and some of these other guys. He's had a fantastic season. He's right up there. It should be all state in Class B for sure.
Yeah.
102 yards, 2 touchdowns on 6 catches. Also completed a pass. So I guess they're having some fun there with some trick plays. So Elkhorn North gets the rematch with Bennington. Bennington won that one 20-6 in week 7. So just a few weeks ago.
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing. And you could say what you will about 4-5 with Scottsbluff and Elkhorn North, and Scottsbluff was, and they saw Elkhorn North, but seeds pretty much held with a 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Yeah.
In Class A.
Yep.
Or Class B, excuse me.
Yeah. Well, same in Class A as well. 1, 2, 3, 5.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, because the 3 Skutt 38-21 over Waverly. Congrats to Coach Thurman, his 200th career win.
That's a lot of dubs.
That's a lot of wins.
I mean, you only play 13 games a season at most, and you're only guaranteed 9. So it's like, yeah, he wins a lot.
Yep,
he wins a lot.
Van Dyke, 234 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 of them to Kaliga. So those guys just continue their fantastic season. Axman had 145 yards on 27 carries on the ground. He's just a junior. Like we're gonna talk about him a lot next season.
Yeah.
McMillan had 2 touchdowns, but Waverly couldn't get enough stops to keep up with Skutt there. And then Seward, the game of the week in Class B. You were talking about it.
Yeah.
You thought
I thought this would be close.
Yeah.
And it was. Yeah. I said, keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, Seward, they were in some trouble there. Had to make some plays there to finish it off to get the win.
And Gretna kind of let a lead slip away late, which they'll probably be kicking themselves on. But he's got some young guys over there. But that one definitely had my interest going into last week.
Good to see Sam's back out there for Gretna East, 136 yards. Seth Kragel had 6 catches, 125 yards, and a touchdown. But the Treston Haas was too much. 229 of 44 for 326 yards, 3 touchdowns.
He gives you the impression watching him that sooner or later he's going to get you.
Yeah. They also busted out a pass play to him where running back Edison Knott tossed it to him for a 12-yard touchdown. So 4 total touchdowns for Haas there. And they Gretna East controlled the Seward rushing game, held them to 112 yards on 31 carries, and ran it a little bit better themselves. But in the end, that passing game, Jack Vinilek, 9 catches, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9 tackles, 3 for loss on defense. Mentioned Knott with that passing touchdown, also had a receiving touchdown there out of the backfield. So Seward, Seward Skutt going to Seward, man, that's
be a lot of balls in the air. And you're going to get a nice weather day too. So,
and Seward undefeated was first time matchup with no rematch this time.
So, and the interesting thing, and you go over to kind of the balance there with with what Bennington wants to be able to do defensively on the top half of that bracket. Do you like that kind of how that matchup breaks down?
Bennington, Elkhorn North.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a brief. I mean, they've seen each other,
so they're going to need a fantastic day from Beachy. Like he's going to have to be the one.
He's got to be the
okay. Because I don't think like Tinkoff's going to make some plays. They're not going to be able to ride him for 35 carries for 200 yards or whatever. Like they're going to have to find some way to make some plays through the passing game to keep it up. And they've got the weapons to do so if they can execute.
Yeah. So the seeds hold in B as we move over to C1. And boy, does this get interesting.
Yeah, first real upset here, like significant upset in C1. And that was 7-seed Auburn getting revenge on 2-seed Ashland-Greenwood, 20-19. I was there when Ashland-Greenwood beat Auburn the first time, and it wasn't terribly competitive past about midway through the second quarter. So, for Auburn,
role reversal.
And to be honest, I talked to Todd Binder walking out, and he's like, "Yep, credit to them," but felt like they had a chance if they saw him again, and they certainly did.
Auburn has just the one loss.
Yeah, to Ashland-Greenwood.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm in Nebraska City once a week, and there's always a couple folks that come to listen that have Auburn gear on, and they like this football team.
Nixon Lagori, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Also 57 passing yards. And so came back and found a way to win it there. And now they will they'll get a shot against Wahoo, who took care of business 53-14 against a talented Boys Town team. Kip Brigham, 221 yards, 4 touchdowns, also caught 3 passes for 65 yards. So doing what he does. Nairi Poteet had a 71-yard rushing touchdown. The rest of their plays went for 114 yards on the day. So
that's just it's an active front that they were seeing. What I like about Brigham, just watching him more the last half of the season, he's pretty sudden in small spaces. Like you think you have a good beat on him, and he's just out of the back gate.
Yeah, not a big guy, basketball player too, quick guard in the back court for them. But he's tough on a football field for sure. The season
very good navigating small spaces, and I get it, right? People, he's got plenty of holes to run through. I don't know. He's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Good vision, and they're pretty good up front. That is going to be a tough matchup with Auburn as Wahoo comes to town. And in our last one, we thought there were going to be a lot of points. What do we know?
Yeah,
Central City and Columbus Lakeview, they playing a little D.
Yeah, kind of. You called a few of these games correctly last week. This one, not so much.
Yeah,
but,
I said 40s would win this one.
Yeah, but Central City got it done. Like I said, 19-7, 26 total points, which the under certainly hit. And it wasn't the passing game. Yeah. Like it was a rushing game for Central City. Corbin Keys, 29 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. They had a 43-yard pick six from Turner Hankey that played a huge part there. And then I also got another interception there to keep Lakeview down. So credit to Central City, 10-1 now, heading to the final where they get number 1 Sidney, who 32-8 against Chadron. Alec Doty, over 200 total yards.
Quietly, I got a couple of guys, one that I coach with in Overton. That folks in Sidney think this is a really good football team.
Yeah. Well, Landon Riddle, two receiving touchdowns and a 60-yard punt return touchdown. Credit to Sidney, great season, 11-0 heading into the semis. And Quinn Bailey, just shout out to him for the career that he had. Still went out 35 carries, 179 yards and a touchdown. Also completed a pass for 2 yards. The rest of the team combined for 21 yards on 15 plays. Yeah. So he
heck of a career.
6,164 yards and 78 touchdowns on the ground. Jeez. 556 yards and 5 touchdowns receiving. 48 2-point conversions. 877 yards and 2 touchdowns and kickoff returns. 151 punt return yards. He kicked off for them at times for over 1,000 yards. He punted for nearly 1,800 yards. He had 213 tackles, 6.5 for loss, 3 picks, and a pass defense. That's his career. And this dude, he's like 5'8".
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of references to another smaller statured guy from that neck of the woods that put up a ton of yards. That guy collected a couple of Harlan Hills, though, in college. I mean, not a bad comp,
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah, it's pretty good company there out there at Chadron. So yeah, I just wanted to shout out to him and the career that he's had now that it's over with. Phenomenal high school football player. C2, speaking of phenomenal high school football player, I guess there were two games, the bottom half of the bracket in C2.
Yeah.
Both went down to the wire. Top half, Kearney Catholic, 41-14 over Raymond Central. That's kind of as expected. Kearney Catholic over Wood River.
This is impressive.
Continues to run 30-8. It wasn't even close.
Coming all the way from the 13. I think, they were a 13 seed, right?
Yeah.
Coming in at 7-2. And this is the first one where the seeds get a little wonky.
Yeah. And you look at what Kearney Catholic did. Nobody had a massive game. It was a total team effort. Just impact from all these different guys. So credit to them for getting through there to set up a semifinal with the top seed. But yeah, down on the bottom, Battle Creek comeback. Malcolm, they were up 27-20 with about 3 minutes to go. And then Aiden Pochop returned kickoff 85 yards to tie it up.
Turn the game on it too.
Yep. And then they kicked game-winning field goal to pull it out. So yeah, 10-0 run to end the game there in the last 3 minutes or so of the game to advance. So Battle Creek avoided the upset there. They get in semis, and so did Bishop Neumann, but they had to earn it.
This is a good call by Mike, because he told me to keep an eye on Cedar Catholic in this matchup with how Bishop Neumann likes to run the ball and what Cedar Catholic was about. And lo and behold, 24-21, it was every bit of that.
Yeah. Went down. I mean, Connor Booth, 250 yards on 34 carries and only 2 touchdowns. So that
that's
hurt his average.
Yeah. I mean, but that's how you have to you can't really stop him.
Yeah.
You just have to hope to kind of contain him.
Yep. And then be able to answer. And that's what they did. They Riefenrath 21-24 for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns in the
really
passing
efficient
game. So that's how they were able to keep up there. But in the end, Bishop Neumann made the plays down the stretch to secure the 24-21 victory. So yeah, the seedings hold on that end of the bracket, but it certainly wasn't easy. So we got 1, 2, 3, and 13 in the
right
C2.
There, the first
semis.
one. And I think they may be, I better double check, but I think at first blush yesterday, I thought they're the only double-digit seeds still left. Is that right?
Believe so. Yep. Well, Lord Central Catholic.
Oh,
in D1. So that's where we're going now. Kind of same deal. The top seed, Sandy Creek, 54-0 over Shelby Rising City, and Stanton. Oh, they had to earn it. North Platte St. Pat's pushed them, but 38-26 final for Stanton there. So the top 2 seeds advance. Stanton will take on Summerlin, 48-38 win over Crofton there. So an upset 6-3. And then, and I mean, you get 2 upsets in the first round.
And that's going to happen.
You're going to have a double-digit seed there making it. But 12 seed Ord Central Catholic continues their run, beating 13 Plainview 32-27. So they'll get Sandy Creek in the semifinal in D1.
Yeah, and collision course, you think, for Sandy Creek and Stanton?
Certainly seems like it. Kind of seems like what it's been all season. But we'll see what Summerlin can do, because again, North Platte St. Pat's, it's proud athletic tradition out there for that school. But they Stanton didn't quite roll as much as Sandy Creek did. So we'll see. But I think that's definitely the favorites going in there is the 2 top seeds.
Yeah, let's jump down to D2 and close her out.
1, 2. So the one upset is unfortunately injury related.
Because Riverside's a 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Riverside is the 6, but so BDS, the 2 seed, won 32-25 over Overton. Archangel's Catholic, easily 24-6 over Howell's Dodge there. So a good win for them.
That's a good win.
Yeah. Central Valley, the 4 seed. So Chuck held there 44-6 over Why Not. And then Sandhill Thedford, the 3 seed, reigning champ, undefeated, 73-50. And unfortunately, their quarterback, Kyle Cox, got hurt and wasn't able to finish that game. And I think that probably played a big role in how that game played out.
I watched him go for 400
a
year ago in the
huge.
state championship. He was incredible. And I know his dad is out there coaching it. That's a tough one to see. And unfortunately, it's the good and the bad, right, of high school and kind of some of these storied careers and how potentially it could end up.
Yep. So we got 1, 2, 4, and 6 there in D2. Finally, in D6, we have Sumner Eddyville Millard 60-25 in the semis. Garden County, the 4 seed, 22-20. So they pulled a close one out against Red Cloud there, but seedings held there. And then seedings held in the bottom as well. Hay Springs won 38-30 over Silver Lake, and Stewart, the 3 seed, won 51-12 over Arthur County. So we got top 4 seeds advance in 6-man.
What are you looking forward to this week in terms of matchups?
Man, I'm
Seward Skutt maybe sticks out.
I'm debating whether or not I want to drive out there for that one. I'm trying to figure out. I am free on Friday this week, so I'll be able to go to a game somewhere. I just got to make that decision. I think I've already seen all 4 Class A teams, so I'm thinking probably one of those 2 Class B semis is where I'll be.
I had to guess. I was joking with Sauter yesterday. I thought you would take Seward and Skutt.
Just do I
no
want to
pressure.
drive out? Yeah, do I want to drive out to Concordia? Especially got early morning on Saturday, but we'll see. I haven't seen Seward. I haven't seen Skutt, so that would be 2 teams that I haven't seen yet that have had great seasons. So we'll make that decision once we get a little bit later in the week. But Class B should be fun.
Yeah. Any bold predictions, or what has you? So my gut says I think Kearney Millard South will be much closer this time around.
I think it'll probably be closer. I just don't know that Kearney can
much.
Yeah, I just don't know that Kearney can score enough.
Maybe it's and that's probably the concern. But Coach Cool is he's so good, and these run backs.
Yeah,
I don't know. You know what I mean? But
we've seen late in the season have success multiple times throughout his run there.
But it's like you talk to every coach that plays Millard South. It's their depth.
Yeah.
They just wear you out. And, you blink and it's like you give up points. And sometimes when you're not giving up a ton, it can be demoralizing. Be interesting. That's for sure, with a couple of rematches in A.
So you'll obviously be seeing what's happening in A. I'll be at one of the 2 B games. Sauter should be back next week. I think he's planning to do the Wahoo doubleheader. To get some C class in there just to see both of those teams and get some coverage out there. Try to bounce back and forth between the 2. So we'll have you all covered next week in Nebraska Preps Postgame.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.